The night the fire started, Elena had only one thought. Her husband was still inside. Smoke poured from the upstairs windows of the old house. Flames climbed the curtains and swallowed the wooden staircase. Neighbors stood outside shouting for the fire department, but Elena didn't hear them. She heard only Daniel's voice. "Help me." He was trapped in the bedroom. Elena ran toward the house. "Daniel." A neighbor grabbed her arm. "You can't go in there. My husband is inside. The firefighters are coming. I don't have time." She pulled free and disappeared through the front door. The heat hit her face instantly. She covered her mouth with her sleeve and crawled beneath the smoke. The hallway was already burning. A picture frame fell from the wall beside her and shattered. "Daniel, I'm here." His voice came from upstairs. Elena climbed the staircase. Halfway up, a burning beam collapsed behind her. She screamed and kept going. When she reached the bedroom, she found Daniel lying beside the bed. A heavy wooden cabinet had fallen across his leg. "Elena, I've got you. You need to leave. Not without you." She tried lifting the cabinet. It wouldn't move. She tried again. Nothing. Then she noticed the curtains. They were burning rapidly, and flames were spreading across the ceiling. "Daniel, listen to me. When I lift this, you crawl." "I can't." "You can." "Elena, your clothes. Forget me." With everything she had, Elena pushed the cabinet upward. Daniel pulled his leg free. He crawled toward the doorway. Then the ceiling cracked. A burning piece of wood crashed down. Elena pushed Daniel away. The beam struck her back and shoulder. She screamed. Daniel looked at her in horror. "Elena, go." He crawled toward the stairs. Elena tried to follow, but her clothes had caught fire. She rolled across the floor, screaming, beating the flames with her hands. Daniel reached the doorway. For one terrible second, he looked back. Then he ran. Elena didn't remember what happened afterward. She remembered firefighters. She remembered someone carrying her outside. She remembered Daniel standing across the street, wrapped in a blanket. And she remembered looking at him while the paramedics loaded her into the ambulance. He wasn't crying. He wasn't coming toward her. He was simply watching. Elena spent 6 weeks in the hospital. She suffered severe burns across her back, shoulder, neck, and left arm. The doctors told her she was lucky to be alive. But surviving the fire was only the beginning. The pain was unbearable. Every dressing change felt like her skin was being torn away. She couldn't sleep. She couldn't raise her left arm. She couldn't look at herself in the mirror. But every morning, she asked the same question. "Where is Daniel?" Her sister, Maria, always hesitated. "He's been busy." "Busy doing what?" "He's handling the house." "Our house." "Yes." Elena smiled weakly. "He's probably worried about me." Maria looked away. She couldn't tell her yet. Not while Elena was still recovering. Not while her body was fighting to heal. Not while her heart was still fragile. But Elena eventually found out. One afternoon, a nurse accidentally mentioned that Daniel had come to collect Elena's belongings. "When is he coming to visit?" Elena asked. The nurse froze. "Didn't he tell you?" "Tell me what?" The nurse lowered her eyes. "He said he needed some space." Elena stared at her. "Space?" "Yes." That night, Elena asked Maria, "Why hasn't Daniel visited?" Maria sat beside her bed. "He left." Elena didn't understand. "Left where?" "He moved out." Silence. Elena's eyes filled with tears. "Why?" Maria couldn't answer. "He said." "What?" "He said he didn't know if he could live with you anymore." Elena's lips trembled. "I saved his life. I know. I almost died. I know. He left because I'm burned." Maria took her hand. "He says it's more complicated than that." Elena laughed softly. There was no happiness in it. Of course. 3 months later, Elena returned home. The house had been repaired. But it no longer felt like home. Daniel had taken almost everything. His clothes, his photographs, his books, his wedding ring, even the framed picture from their honeymoon was gone. Elena walked slowly through the empty bedroom. On the wall was a pale rectangle where their wedding photograph had once hung. She touched the wall. 10 years of marriage, gone in a single afternoon. Then she noticed something on the floor. A small envelope. Her name was written on it. Elena. She opened it. Daniel had written, "I don't know how to say this without hurting you. I love you, but I don't think I can live this life anymore. Everything has changed. I'm sorry. Elena read it twice. Then she folded it carefully. She didn't cry. Not that day. She simply placed the letter in a drawer. And whispered, "Neither do I." The following months were difficult. Elena had to learn how to live differently. She couldn't cook the way she used to. She couldn't drive. She couldn't sleep comfortably. She hated mirrors. People stared at her in public. Children sometimes whispered. Adults tried not to look. But one day, Elena's physical therapist said something that changed her life. "You keep trying to become the woman you were before the fire." Elena looked at her. "Yes. Why?" "Because I liked her." The therapist smiled. "Maybe you don't need to become her again." Elena frowned. "Maybe you need to discover who survived." Those words stayed with her. So Elena began rebuilding herself. She started painting. At first, she painted only dark colors. Burning houses, broken windows, empty rooms. Then she painted a woman standing in front of a fire. The woman was scarred, but she was smiling. Elena named the painting after the flames. She posted it online. It sold in 2 days. Then another painting sold. Then another. Within a year, Elena had become a successful artist. Her paintings were about survival, loss, rebuilding, forgiveness. People connected with them because they were honest. She never hid her scars. She stopped covering them. She stopped apologizing for them. And slowly, she became happy again. One rainy afternoon, Elena received a phone call. "Mrs. Carter." "Yes, this is St. Mary's Hospital." Elena's heart tightened. "Is someone hurt?" "No, we're calling because we've seen your artwork." "Oh, we're organizing a charity exhibition for burn survivors. We'd like you to be our guest of honor." Elena was silent. Then she smiled. "I'd be honored." The exhibition was held 6 months later. Hundreds of people attended. Elena stood beside her paintings wearing a simple black dress. Her scars were visible. She didn't hide them. A reporter approached her. "People know your story," the reporter said. "You saved your husband from a fire and were severely burned. How do you feel about him now?" Elena paused. "I don't hate him. Do you forgive him?" "Yes." The reporter seemed surprised. "Even after he left you?" "Yes." "Why?" Elena looked at her painting. "Because forgiveness isn't a gift you give the person who hurt you." She turned toward the crowd. "Sometimes it's the freedom you give yourself." The room became quiet. Then people applauded. 2 years after the fire, Elena received another phone call. This time, she recognized the number. Daniel. She almost didn't answer. But she did. "Hello." There was silence. Then his voice. "Elena." She closed her eyes. "Daniel. I heard about the exhibition." "Yes. You've become famous." "I've been busy." He laughed nervously. "You always were stubborn." "So I've been told." Another silence. Then Daniel said, "I want to see you." Elena looked out the window. "Why?" "I need to talk to you." "You can talk now. Please." She agreed. They met at a small cafe. Daniel looked older. His hair had begun turning gray. He sat across from her. For several minutes, neither spoke. Finally he said, "I was a coward." Elena didn't respond. "I left because I couldn't handle what happened." "You left while I was still in the hospital." "I know. You took our things." "I know. You didn't even say goodbye." "I know." Elena looked at him. "Why are you here?" Daniel swallowed. "Because I made the biggest mistake of my life." Elena leaned back. "Maybe. I want another chance." She stared at him. "I don't." His face fell. "Why?" "Because I don't love you anymore." Daniel looked down. "But I love you." Elena's voice remained calm. "You love the woman I was." "No. You love the woman who made your life comfortable." "That isn't true. When things were easy, you loved me." Daniel's eyes filled with tears. "When things became difficult, you left." He couldn't argue. Because there was nothing to say. Elena reached into her purse. She took out the old letter he had written her. She placed it on the table. "I kept this." Daniel stared at it. "You still have it?" "Yes." "Why?" "To remember." "Remember what?" "The moment I realized I was alone." Daniel covered his face. "I am sorry. I know. Can you ever forgive me?" "I already did." He looked up. "Then why can't you come back?" "Because forgiveness doesn't mean returning to the place where you were broken." Daniel nodded slowly. "I understand. Elena stood. Then she paused. You know what saved me? Daniel looked at her. You did. He frowned. What? You leaving forced me to learn that I could survive without you. And then she walked away. Years passed. Elena continued painting. She opened a small studio where burn survivors could learn art for free. She donated much of her earnings to hospitals. Every year, on the anniversary of the fire, she visited the local fire station. She thanked the firefighters who had saved her. One of them once asked, "Do you ever wish you could go back and change that night?" Elena smiled. No, not even the scars. She looked at her hand. No. Why? Because the scars remind me that I survived. One evening, Elena stood outside her studio watching the sunset. A little girl approached her. The child had a scar across her cheek. She looked nervous. Are you the artist? Yes. I saw your paintings. Did you like them? The girl nodded. Mom says I'm ugly now. Elena knelt beside her. Your mother is wrong. The girl's eyes widened. You don't look ugly. But my face. Your face tells a story. What story? Elena smiled. That you were strong enough to stay. The girl touched her scar. Will people always stare? Some will. Will it hurt? Sometimes. Then what do I do? Elena gently took her hand. You keep living. The girl smiled. And Elena realized something. The fire had taken a lot from her. It had taken her old appearance. Her marriage. Her sense of safety. The woman she once believed she needed to be. But it had given her something too. A strength she never knew existed. A voice she had never used. A life she had never imagined. And the courage to stand in front of the world without hiding. Years later, Elena painted one final picture about the fire. There was a burning house in the background. A woman stood in front of it. Her clothes were torn. Her skin was scarred. But she was walking away from the flames. Not running. Not looking back. Walking. Under the painting, Elena wrote 7 words. I lost my past. I found myself. The painting became her most famous work. People asked her what it meant. She always gave the same answer. The fire didn't destroy my life. She smiled. It destroyed the life I thought I needed. Then she touched the scars on her shoulder. And sometimes, the person who leaves you when you need them most is unknowingly giving you the first chance you've ever had to discover how strong you really are.